Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be absolutely crazy. What I am doing in it is insane. I don't know how long this video is going to be, probably the length of a movie, but that's okay because it's going to be really interesting, really fun to watch. So get some popcorn, get a snack, get a drink, sit down, relax, and enjoy this. So what am I going to be doing in this video? Over the course of the next week, I'm going to be embarking on a 1-week road trip through the southern United States. So when I say through the southern United States, I mean every single US state that's considered the South in 1 week. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds impossible. A lot of people I've told about this trip to in my personal life, they look at me like I have 3 heads and like I'm not going to be able to do it. However, I'm trying to prove them wrong in this video because I am going to do it. So first thing we got to do is get the hell out of New York. I want to be out of New York City by the time the sun is up. It's about 4 in the morning right now. We just left. Then we got to get through New Jersey, Pennsylvania, a little bit of Maryland, and then we're going to be starting in the South. Now at this point, we're going to be in Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and then into Arkansas, which is going to be my only new state on this trip. I've never been to Arkansas before. Then down into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, then into a little bit of Florida, and then back up into Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and then Virginia. And the thing about the South, guys, is I love the South. I mean, a lot of people like to hate on it for a lot of different reasons, but I think it's a really cool place in the United States. I think the region as a whole is interesting. You know, the fact that it has sub-regions like Appalachia, then the Deep South, the Delta, all the cool cities, right? So and then you have all the geography, the music, the food, and just the culture in the South is crazy. And road tripping through it is just something I think everyone should experience at least once in their life if they like to travel. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing on this trip. We're going to be, seeing Appalachia, deep Appalachia, through the mountains. We're going to be going to the bayous further down south. We're going to be hitting all the cool cities like Nashville, Memphis, Mobile, Montgomery, Atlanta. I've always wanted to see Atlanta, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've been to Nashville and Memphis before, but it was kind of rushed. This time I want to kind of take my time there. And on this trip, you guys know my rule about interstates and back roads. I always say that you see nothing on the interstates. Interstates are fun, but back roads are cooler. So we're going to be doing a lot of interstate driving on this trip, but we're also going to be doing a lot of back road driving on this trip. And that's really going to give us a glimpse into where we are, and we're really going to see and learn a lot that way. And it's going to be really cool. So yeah, right now we just got on the highway. We are currently trying to get out of New York, and yeah, let this trip begin. I am beyond excited. So if you want to make the argument, because I know a lot of people are going to make the argument in here from geographers and historians, a lot of people consider Texas the South just because of its geography, the fact that it was a Confederate state during the Civil War. Now, I do agree that Texas is the South culturally, at least East Texas, behind the Pine Curtain. However, I don't really agree that Texas geographically is the South. I think the South kind of ends at the Louisiana, Arkansas, western line. When it turns Oklahoma, Texas, that's more Midwest, Southwest area. So if you're wondering why I'm saying I'm hitting every southern state and not going to Texas, that is why. Alright, so we're on the Verrazano Bridge. We already made it really far in like 45 minutes. It just hit 5 o'clock. So yeah, that's the reason I love leaving at 4, because New York City traffic is horrible. But like I said, if you leave at 4, you don't gotta be through any of it. So over there's New York. Look at that beautiful skyline. Alright guys, so we're on the Goethals Bridge right now. We just got out of Staten Island. We got out of New York State in general. We're gonna be in New Jersey when we get over this bridge, over this waterway. The nice sunrise over there. The New York skyline in the distance. I always love looking at that. Alright, we're officially in New Jersey. you know, driving in New Jersey, it's not the most fun or entertaining thing in the world. So let's hope this goes quick, and hopefully we'll be in Pennsylvania soon enough. Alright guys, so it's about 5 hours later since when we left. It's 9 o'clock in the morning and we have made it into Maryland. We got out of PA, which was a long but cool drive, but it was long. But now we are in Maryland and I'm very happy about that because Maryland is kind of a short state, and then we're going to be in Virginia and we'll officially be in the South. Maryland is another one of those controversial states when it comes to the North and the South, because technically Maryland is south of the Mason-Dixon line, and anything south of that line is considered the South. However, during the war, it was a border state. It didn't really identify with either the Union or the Confederacy. However, I think it did more identify with the Union, but it was still more of a border state. So again, I don't really consider Maryland the South, even though maybe technically it is, but I really don't, and I don't think a lot of people do. So we stopped off in this small rural Maryland town called Hagerstown, and we went to this gas station called Rocks. So it's honestly just like a small town, random ass gas station. Like, there should not be any reason for anyone to stop here purposely. However, the first time I ever came down south, we pulled off here just because we needed gas, and we ended up coming here. And ever since then, it's kind of been like a little landmark for me, I guess. So whenever I take a road trip down south, as long as I'm on I-81, I always like to come here. It's like a little landmark. It's tradition. It's kind of like the gateway to the South for me in a way. So cool place, definitely come. Here it is. Cool little place. This is what it looks like. Alright guys, so we have officially made it into Virginia, into the South, as you can tell by all the giant crosses along the highway immediately. So we have quite the drive in Virginia before we get into West Virginia. But that's okay, because Virginia is a really cool state. I always love driving through this state, especially if it's on I-81. And I-81 is one of those highways that goes through the eastern side of Appalachia, the eastern side of the Appalachian Mountains, as you can tell. Look ahead of me. Look at that. So when you're on I-81 in Virginia, you could see the Appalachian Mountains soaring in the distance. Along the interstate, it's all like small town culture, like Appalachian culture. It's a great highway to road trip on. I don't get bored on here ever, so long drives on this highway, it's not a problem. We're just continuing on through Virginia, and in the distance you got a bunch of crosses. I always found it really creepy how when you're driving through the South, there's like giant crosses along like every highway, especially at night, because it's like pitch black and the crosses just glow. I know it's a good message, but still. Alright guys, so we ended up finding a Buc-ee's along Interstate 81, so you know we gotta get off the highway. Look at that. Look at that beaver up there. Buc-ee's is the holy mecca of road trips. It's like a required stop. It's insane how big they actually are. Like, that's a gas station, guys. Like, keep in mind, it's a gas station, and it's that big. It's like the size of a Walmart. All right, also, we went to Buc-ee's. Absolutely crazy experience. I've been to Buc-ee's before, but it was insanely crowded in here. I couldn't film or anything. It was way too hectic. However, I'm sure we'll run into a few more on this trip, and at that point, I will film inside for y'all. But Buc-ee's haul, I got a hoodie, I got 2 bumper stickers that I'm probably not gonna put on my car, but I'm probably gonna hang up in my room. I got beaver nuggets, which is like their signature snack. I got a hot, spicy one, a cinnamon one, and a white cheddar one, just because I wanted to try like a little bit of each. And I got a chocolate bar, so yeah. All right, y'all, so we left Buc-ee's, and now we're following my route. On this trip, I made a very calculated, planned out route to kind of balance out interstates and back roads. So now this is the point of the trip where we start to go on the back roads. So yeah, we're in the back country of Appalachia now in Virginia, on our way to West Virginia. And it's crazy because we were just on the interstate at Buc-ee's, and now we're like here in the middle of nowhere. All right, so we're still in Virginia. We got back on the interstates. We will be on the back roads soon though, again, eventually. But for now, we're back on the interstates. Check out those mountains. All right, so we got off Interstate 81 and now we're headed west on Interstate 64. We're really pulling up close on West Virginia now. And honestly, this ride is better than I-81 just because it's more quiet, it's more peaceful, and it's kind of going into the mountains as opposed to driving and seeing them off in the distance. This drive is just really, really nice. And as soon as you felt the Appalachian culture along I-81, but as soon as you went on I-64 and really started to head into the mountains, that's when you can really feel the Appalachian culture, you know what I mean? Appalachia has a unique, distinctive culture that I can't really put into words, but if you've ever been here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a vibe and an aesthetic you could only get here. I love Appalachia for a lot of reasons. There's a lot here that I love. I love the vibes here, and I love the folklore here. Now, a lot of you guys might not know the folklore, and a lot of you might, but if you don't, Appalachia is rumored to be very, very haunted, and I kind of get it, because whenever I'm here, no matter how much I love it, there is always like a weird feeling of like uneasiness, especially at night. So it is one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world, if not the oldest. And people just say it's very haunted. There's a lot of crap here, a lot of, you know, urban legends and cryptids like the Appalachian knot deer, skinwalkers, Mothman, the Wendigo, you know, stuff like that. And they say that if you go deep enough into the woods, especially at night, you might, you know, see some of this stuff. Not only that, people also say like if you hear whistling in the woods at night, it's like demonic spirits or skinwalkers trying to like lure you into them, or if you hear your own voice mimicking you, it's demonic spirit. Like if you hear things in the woods, like ignore it, because it's something trying to lure you into it. Like Appalachia just has this whole book full of like folklore and like urban legends, and it really just adds to the region's persona and vibe, and it's honestly one of the reasons I love it. Now, if that stuff is true or not, who knows? As a paranormal enthusiast myself, I find that stuff really interesting, and all the investigations and explorations I've done in Appalachia in the past, I mean, I think it's pretty true from what I found. I'm not going to get into all that now, but if you guys are interested, you can go to my channel and look at those videos. Another thing about Appalachia is, drop it being haunted, drop all that. Parts of Appalachia are so rural and so isolated that there's legends that there are feral people in the mountains. Now, Appalachia has a very sometimes negative stereotype from people all over the nation, all over the world. And a lot of people like to refer to pretty much anyone who lives in Appalachia as uneducated, backwards, hillbillies. You know what I mean? And that is completely untrue. However, all stereotypes do come from somewhere, so while all people are not like that by any means, it does exist in the mountains. You know what I mean? Those behind people, those isolated people in isolated towns, in isolated hollers, it does exist. Sometimes, like, I've been here in Appalachia way too many times, and the poverty and the isolation I have seen, it's crazy. I'll try to show you guys some of it in this video. I'm sure that we'll pass through some of it. But the feral people, the theory is that some of the people that are so isolated are so like twisted and poor that they'll kill people, they'll shoot people who drive down their blocks or whatever, and they'll eat them. Yeah, I know that sounds absurd, and it probably is. It's probably not real. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're isolated enough, who the hell knows? There are isolated tribes in this world that do turn to cannibalism, so why not here, right? I mean, it's possible, I guess. No matter how you look at it, these mountains definitely hold some stories. There's a lot of mysteries here, a lot of unsolved disappearances. There's just a lot here, a lot of urban legend, a lot of folklore, and honestly, I could spend all day talking about it, but I won't. West Virginia. Alright, also, we are officially in West Virginia now. Feels good to hit a new state, I'll tell you that much. Look at how cool that is, guys. That's the New River. Check out that view, guys. Alright, so we kind of got off the interstates again, and we are once again back on the back roads. And we're on the back roads of West Virginia, so this should be a pretty interesting drive like I was talking about before. You gotta love West Virginia backcountry driving. I mean, backcountry driving anywhere in Appalachia is pretty much quite the adventure, but I feel like West Virginia is just like the beating heart of everything I was talking about. Look at this, guys. We're driving here, we're surrounded by like two big mountains with like stone walls, go straight-ish up. It's pretty cool. Alright, y'all, so like I said, no more interstates for right now. On the back roads, passing through some towns. Very eerily empty downtown here in Mullins. Oh, cool. Look at that. Old Coca-Cola and Pepsi signs on this building. Damn, I don't think I've ever seen a more empty and beat up downtown than that. That's crazy. Alright, y'all, so we pulled over at this sketchy little gas station in this little town deep in West Virginia coal country. Let me show you this place. We just got like houses over there, this building over there. Now is that way? Look at that house. How interesting is that? Like, imagine having that be your patio. This is what I mean when I say Appalachia is so interesting, because you're not going to find houses like that anywhere else in the country. Abandoned gas station, that's sweet. Alright guys, so slight issue. Right now we are deep in the Appalachian Mountains and we have lost GPS signal, so we kind of have no idea how to continue following the route that I have strategically planned out for this trip. We're trying to get to Kentucky. You know, the goal is to pass through West Virginia, hit a few places, which you'll see in separate videos, and then go into Kentucky. So I'm trying to head west right now, as best as I can, just based off, you know, like knowledge or whatever, and road signs. But yeah, we ran out of GPS and we're on these windy mountain back roads, and it's insanely hard to figure it out. I mean, this always happens when we're in Appalachia. I have no idea why. It just slipped my mind to bring like a paper map and prepare for that. Honestly, kind of stupid of me, but it's all right. We'll figure it out. Check that abandoned building out. Damn. Building like that in Appalachia has to be haunted. So the thing is though, for the rest of West Virginia, and even when we get into Kentucky for a while, the majority of the roads that we're gonna be on are like this, just Appalachian back roads, no interstates, until we get further into Kentucky and out of the Appalachian Mountains. So it's gonna be quite the drive. As I've said before in previous videos, these back roads here on the Appalachian Mountains can be very draining and very tiring and just like mentally and physically abusing. I just love all the abandoned stuff and like just the vibe here that it gives off, you know, just the isolation, so far from anything else. It's like we left New York City this morning and now it's like we're in a completely different world, only a few states away. Like, I just find it so interesting what driving can make you experience. Passing through some random little town right now. Not really sure what it's called, or really I have no idea where the hell I am right now, but look guys, I got a shopping center here, Dollar General, and a little mechanic shop over there, an abandoned gas station. That was like the first any kind of shopping center we've seen in hours, and it had 4 stores in it and 2 of them were abandoned. So I guess if you want to consider 2 stores a shopping center, then go right ahead. It never fails to amaze me how drastically different life here is compared to life where I live, and it's only a few states away. And that's one of the main reasons I love traveling, just to learn and to see new things and experience new places and cultures and people, and you know, like this is what it's about. It's, to me, it's not about, you know, sitting on a beach with a margarita. This is travel. Like, I'm not a hater, I don't judge on people, but when people say travel, whenever I talk to people about traveling, it's always like, oh yeah, I'm going to Cancun, Mexico, or I'm going to Florida, you know, I'm gonna hang out on the beach, I'm gonna drink. Like, great, you know, have a great time, but I can't ever see myself doing that. You know what I mean? Like, for me, traveling is driving down the back roads of Appalachia, learning how life here is, experiencing it for myself, and drinking Mountain Dew because we're in Appalachia instead of margaritas. And, you know, instead of my fancy ass dinner at the tropical resorts I got my leftover beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's 10 hours ago. Everyone says the way I travel, like people that I know personally that watch my videos or that I just talk to, everyone says the way I do things when I travel is just, it's kind of bananas, and I don't blame them. You know, it's not a lot of people do it like I do. And again, not to judge, you know, most people aren't into this stuff, and that's okay. But it's just funny how much people look at me like, wow, you're crazy. Guys, so the coolest thing just happened. Unfortunately, I wasn't filming, but we were just driving on this road and a black bear came running across from the left side and hopped over the fence on the right side into like the brush and stuff. I've never ever seen a black bear in real life before out in the wild, and I've always wanted to. So that was a really cool experience, just seeing him run out in front of the road like that. Guys, check out this weird mountain formation. It looks like the bottom of some Art Deco building, the way it's like all set back like that. Look at these roads, guys. It's dead ass just been majority this for the last few hours now. And like I said, it gets mentally and physically draining. And I'm not even the one driving. Look at this. Alright guys, so we're finally on our last few minutes of West Virginia here. I love West Virginia, but like I said, just very ready to get out of West Virginia and out of the Appalachian Mountains. So the fact that we're coming up on Kentucky is very relieving. However, we're not exactly going to be out of the mountains yet when we're in Kentucky, but at least we'll be a lot closer to it, because about halfway through Kentucky, the Appalachian Mountains come to an end, and it just becomes like farms and bluegrass country at that point. All right, guys, so we crossed over this bridge. We're now officially in Kentucky. All right, so we've been in Kentucky for a minute now. We've just been driving on, and like I was telling you guys, it's not much, just still in the mountains. I'm hoping to be out of them soon though, and back on some interstates, because it's getting really, really draining. And it's only the first day of this trip. You guys want to know something really cool that happened? So ever since I was a little kid, I've been into like wildlife and stuff. I've been into like seeing wildlife. I've been into seeing wildlife crossing signs. For whatever reason, that stuff just always kind of intrigued me, right? So seeing that black bear today in West Virginia, that was just, it's quite the experience. I was really happy about that. But then we got into Kentucky and I saw an elk crossing sign, which was really cool. First of all, I didn't even know elk came this far south. And second of all, I never saw an elk crossing sign. So that's pretty cool, man. Like, I'm seeing a lot of stuff on this trip so far. Check out this little unique mountain area. It doesn't have any trees on it. That's interesting. We're gonna end up stopping at this little gas station here. It's really funny how in the middle of nowhere this gas station actually is. Like, look, you come out of it, right, and it's just nothing but mountains. All right, y'all, so it's about 9 o'clock right now, and the sun has officially set. We're still in the mountains. It's dark out, so driving through the Appalachian Mountains at night, it's often not recommended by people, as I was telling you before. All the spooky stuff starts to happen now, and you know, but again, they are just urban legends, so who knows if they're true or not. Hopefully we don't see the Appalachian knot deer on the road. That'd be kind of creepy. And we will be driving. We won't be going into any forests or hiking right now, so we won't hear any whistling or our names being called in the woods, thankfully. Guys, so as we're driving down this road still, oh look, there comes more. So basically there was a motorcycle speeding down and a bunch of cop cars were following him. Look, here's another one. There's like a massive police chase going on this road, bro. Guys, for whatever reason, it's really foggy out all of a sudden. Like, all the lights, oh yeah, look at this guy coming up. There's a car coming up here. Look at how foggy it is. That's nuts. Check that out, man. All right, y'all, so we just got out of London, Kentucky. So that means we have officially made it out of the Appalachian Mountain region. And, you know, as much as I love the Appalachians, I could not be more grateful that we are no longer on those twisty, turny mountain roads in the isolated towns where there's no cell service or anything like that. It's still pretty rural over here, but at least it's a straight highway, you know, and there's like towns with service, you know, semi-service. So now that we made it out of the mountains, I think that was our goal for tonight. We're both getting pretty tired, me and my dad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull over at the next hotel that we see. Not sure when that's gonna be, but we're gonna pull over at that and we're gonna stay there and wake up in the morning and continue on. I know you guys can't really see me right now, but I wanted to share the fact that, you know, even though we're out of Appalachia, and I was talking about how it's good to like be back kind of like out of the mountains and like back on flatter roads, there's still nothing along this road. This section of the road and the section of the road that was in the mountains, like there's literally nothing along it. Like every now and then you'll run into like a few houses and like tiny little towns, but like there's no rest stops, there's no restaurants, there's no nothing. Me and my dad, we wanted to get something to eat. We ended up stopping at one of the gas stations that were like far and few between. We got like cheese sticks and like I had my leftover beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's today. So like that was our dinner. There was literally no food on this road. It's like the road that leads to nowhere. It's just so desolate. It's a Kentucky State Route 80 right now. I'm not sure. It's the same way. It was straight all the way from when we entered Kentucky, but I don't know if the like number changed or anything. But right now we're on 80 and it's just literal nothingness for miles and miles and miles. It's insane. So I don't know when this hotel is gonna happen, but my guess is not soon. See, so this is the road. It's just a void of black and emptiness. No one else is out. It's rural, middle of nowhere. It's just completely nothing. It's crazy. So yeah, just imagine driving on this road when you're tired and hungry and it's just this for hours and there's literally nowhere to stop and it's only you out. Alright, also we're continuing on down the road. We got off that road I was telling you all about before, the long one with nothing on it. We're on a new road right now. We have been for about like 15 minutes at this point. We're still kind of in the middle of nowhere, just rural, small town stuff, but at least there's, you know, buildings and life here. So, but still no hotels or anything like that. I have no idea how there's literally zero lodging along this road. Like, I get it's not a major interstate, but put some hotels up somewhere, man, like a Motel 6 or something. So we're just gonna keep going until we find something. So it's kind of hard to see, but remember how I was saying we left the mountains and we kind of entered the farmland, bluegrass territory? Well, as you can tell, it's actually not too bad. You can see we're kind of on the farms now. Every now and then we pass a farm and a silo, like a barn and a silo right along the road, but it's like really dark and all of a sudden it just gets in your face. It's really ominous. I would love to catch one of that on camera for you guys, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll see. Something like that kind of. Alright, after some more driving, we have found a Best Western. Let's go. What we have to do is hope they have room available. If not, we might be fucked. Alright guys, so we made it into a hotel room. They had something, thank God. So it was such a long day. Me and my dad left the house at 4 a.m. and now it's 11:30 p.m. Alright, and we didn't get into Central Time yet. So that's almost a day of driving. If you think about it, it's almost a day of driving fully. And it wasn't even interstate highway driving. Some of it was, but most of it was Appalachian back road driving. We barely ate anything all day except shitty fucking gas station snacks. So yeah, the rest we are gonna get tonight in these beautiful beds is well earned. Yeah, without any other further ado, I'm gonna sleep and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, good morning. Guys, I think that may have been one of the most needed night sleeps I've ever had in my life. Like, let me tell you, last night, when I was like, the night before I left, I did not get any sleep. Like maybe an hour, if. and then we drove all that way, did all that yesterday, and I was literally running on no sleep. Like, my body was like shutting down last night when we pulled up to this hotel. So I got some sleep, fueled up, and I'm ready to take on today. Here it is. Look at this. It was all night last night when we were driving by here, but it's all the farms now. I've driven through Kentucky before in the early morning, and it's beautiful. Like, all the farms and like flatlands and bluegrass and stuff, you know, with like the dew on the grass in the morning. It's great. All right, we're hitting the road. So long, hotel. You served us great, especially after yesterday. So I know you guys might be thinking like, oh, I thought you were out of the Appalachian Mountains. Why are there mountains over there? Those are technically not the Appalachian Mountains, I believe. I'm pretty sure that is called the Cumberland Plateau, which is a different region. And, you know, they're not really mountains. They're more like hills surrounding the farms and stuff, so. It's been so long since we've been on like an actual interstate. I think the last interstate we've been on was I-64 in West Virginia for a little bit, and then we got off that, and then it's just been backroads ever since. Like, we are in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky right now. Like, this area is so like beat up and just desolate. It's crazy. So here we are. We ended up on another mountainous turny road, so just following this. We're about 10 minutes out from Tennessee right now, so that's pretty cool. Can't wait to finally get to Tennessee. All throughout yesterday, I was on the back roads of the mountains, and now I'm on the back roads of the farms. You know, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, you know. This whole region, like Appalachia and over here, even though it's not really Appalachia over here, it's still kind of close to it. It shares a lot of, you know, culture here, and, you know, cultural features, and yeah, you know, farm back roads are interesting. All the beat up barns and just a lot of busted up houses. I'm telling you, when we get to like Nashville and Memphis a little later today, it's gonna feel good to see an actual like city with restaurants and shops and skyscrapers and people, you know. Like, haven't seen anything like that since yesterday morning when we left New York. Look at this place. There were like street signs all over the building. That was interesting. Alright, so we're on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee right now. We got a abandoned gas station right here, a restaurant over there, whatever that is. Look at this place. Alright guys, so we have officially crossed into Tennessee, which is great. Very happy to finally be back here. I love Tennessee. We're still on some back roads though. We got some time before we're on an interstate again. I believe the next interstate we're going to be is Interstate 40. And once we're on there, we're going to head west and be in Nashville eventually. Hopefully get some breakfast there. Not only that, but we did also cross into Central Time, so we are now an hour behind from where we were. Guys, so we were driving and we found this general store that opened up in 1892. Check this place out. Like, how cool is this? And we go inside and it's so like old in there. Like, the floors are all like old wooden boards. And behind the front desk, they're grilling up like hams and like eggs. Like, bro, it smelled so good. And then there were like fudge, and then you could just get stuff like knives and like little keepsakes. Like, it was just like a old general store out here in Tennessee backcountry. Like, it doesn't get more southern than this, man. Like, this was a cool spot. Alright, so we're rolling up on this little gas station called Bluebird Market. It's just another sketchy rural gas station. You know, you guys know how much I love my sketchy gas stations. Hey guys, check out how sketchy this place is. They don't even have coffee or like bananas or anything in there. I don't understand how there could be like a gas station with absolutely nothing like to get. It's crazy. I mean, they had some stuff, but like, I don't know, how do you not have coffee or like fruit? Alright guys, so we got back on an interstate. Finally, after pretty much an entire day of driving on back roads, we are back on an interstate and it feels good. And about 5 minutes into the interstate, what to our wondering eyes should appear? A Buc-ee's. So long, Buc-ee's. See you again later on in this journey. At some point, some state. So, Buc-ee's haul. Again, I got a orange dreamsicle soda, which is one of their like signature popular drinks, branded drinks. I've heard from a lot of people that you got to try that when you go there, so I tried it. It's pretty good. And I also got some of their branded cherry maple beef jerky, and I'm excited to try that as well. Okay, so we're back on the interstate. We're just cruising through Tennessee right now, headed west. We're about an hour out from Nashville, and let me just say I am so excited to get out and explore that city. But I will tell you that it feels amazing to be back on the interstates. The straight roads, no twists and turns and just all that nonsense. It's fun for a while, but it gets really exhausting. So, however, later on in this trip, we are going to be on more back roads and stuff, but we have some more time before that happens. So just enjoy the interstates for right now. Nashville, we're getting close. I love Tennessee just because of the culture here. Tennessee is one of my favorite states in the country. You know, Eastern Tennessee, you got the Smoky Mountains and basically just Appalachia. However, the Smoky Mountains are a little different than like, you know, the West Virginia, Appalachia. It's kind of its own entity. There's just like different kind of things there, and you know, it looks a little bit different. And then you have Nashville, which is the epicenter for all things country music. You got Honky Tonk Highway, it's just filled with bars, honky tonks, country music. And then you got Memphis, which, you know, is home of the blues, home of rock and roll, just more bars. Speaking of Nashville, we are here. All right, we are in downtown Nashville. So we're gonna get out and explore the city, go on Honky Tonk Highway, which is like the main road with all the honky tonks and stuff. But the first thing we're gonna do is try and find a place to eat. Look, we got Bridgestone Arena to the right, the Batman building up there. Look at this place, here's Honky Tonk Highway. Alright y'all, so we're at this place right now called the Mellow Mushroom. It's literally one of the buildings right on Honky Tonk Highway. And you go into the building and it's like a restaurant, but it's also a bar. It's literally just a honky tonk on Nashville. Check this place out. It was really cool being able to eat here because I've never really hung out in Nashville before. I've never been to a real honky tonk, but now I have. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk around the rest of the city, go in some gift shops, go into some more bars, and call it a day in Nashville and continue on to Memphis. So we're on this bridge over the city. We're gonna head back to Main Street in a minute, but check this out, skyline. Over the Cumberland River, there's Nissan Stadium. There. Check out that beautiful skyline. Alright guys, so we left Nashville about an hour ago. We're driving over a bridge over the Tennessee River right now, headed towards Memphis. I had such a great time in Nashville. That was so unbelievably fun, man. And that, it wasn't even at night. Like, if it was nighttime, it would probably be a lot more fun because that's a big nightlife city. And like I'm saying, I'm going to Memphis now. Really, Nashville and Memphis are like kind of the same thing. It's just Nashville is more country music oriented and Memphis is more like rock and blues oriented. So there's just like a little bit of a difference in the culture of the music, I guess you could say, but it's still the same kind of thing, like a bunch of bars, nightlife. All right, so we're still on the road. We're about an hour out from Memphis, just cruising down I-40. And like 2 minutes back, I passed a sign that said Music Highway, and me being myself, that kind of like piqued my curiosity. I was like, what's Music Highway? So I looked it up, and it said Music Highway is the section of Interstate 40 between Nashville and Memphis, which is where we are right now. And that would make sense because it's the main stretch of road between the 2 out of the 3 music cities in America, and it's, you know, how you'd get from Memphis to Nashville and vice versa. So yeah, it's cool. Right now we're on the Music Highway, and through the Mississippi Delta there's the Blues Highway, which is the highway where kind of like the blues was born. I actually have a video where I road tripped that 2 years ago, so definitely go check that out. It's just cool. I love little things like that, like the Blues Highway. Like now we're on the Music Highway. You know, to celebrate, we got to listen to some good music. Alright guys, so it's 8 o'clock at night now. It's getting darker. We just finished I-40. We finished up Music Highway. That was a pretty long drive, but so it's nice to be done with it. We finally made it in Memphis. So we're gonna find a place to park and we're gonna walk around Beale Street and see what Memphis has to offer. Check it out guys, there's Memphis. Alright y'all, so we left Beale Street. We're headed back to the car now. There's downtown. We're headed down this shady block back to the car. Not gonna lie guys, not for nothing, Memphis is kind of sketchy. Like, I know Memphis is a pretty rough city and it has some pretty rough ghettos, but like, you would expect the downtown and the Beale Street area to really kind of not be like that, but Beale Street was pretty rough. Like, the vibe and the culture is there of, you know, what Memphis is, and it's awesome, but it's also just kind of sketchy. So Nashville and Memphis done. Like I said, Nashville is more country oriented, Memphis is more blues and rock oriented, and I just like the vibe of Memphis so much more than I do the vibe of Nashville. Like, don't get me wrong, I love both, but Memphis is definitely much more up my alley. It's more southern, it's more bluesy. I love the blues, and I just think the vibes are immaculate. All right, y'all, so we're about to be out of Memphis and out of Tennessee, actually, and be into Arkansas. I am so excited to go into Arkansas. You guys have no idea. Arkansas is my only new state on this trip. You guys know how much I love hitting new states. I'm trying to hit all 50 by road, except Hawaii, obviously, but I still want to go there. Check out that. It's the giant Bass Pro Shops pyramid. Biggest Bass Pro Shops in the world. Alright guys, on the bridge over the Mississippi River. It's pitch black right now, but you got the gist. Welcome to Arkansas. Hell yeah guys, we made it to Arkansas. Let's go. Oh man, there's no better feeling than hitting a new state. Like, never. Arkansas state line. For me, there is no better feeling than hitting another state, because hitting all 50 states is a huge goal of mine. So when I hit a new one, when I chart a new one, it's just such a relieving and like completing feeling. Like, it makes me feel so whole. So yeah, here we are, Arkansas. Let's see what it has to offer us. I really don't have much planned for here. The few things I have planned for here, you guys are gonna see in separate videos. However, we might see some cool stuff along the way, as we always do, but for the most part, Arkansas is kind of just a, at least in this video, a drive-through state. But I do have stuff planned here, very cool stuff, and you'll see those in other videos. So stay tuned. All right, so we're stopping off in the first town we saw. We're gonna try to get a snack, maybe use the bathroom, because we couldn't really use a bathroom anywhere in Memphis. And it's kind of late for dinner right now, so we're just gonna get some like snacks from Love's Travel Stop or whatever. That's usually a go-to spot on the road trips, Love's Travel Stop. All right, y'all, so we stopped at Love's. We got our gas station snacks dinner for the second night in a row. Tomorrow night we should try to eat real food. But yeah, we ate. And right now we are in West Memphis. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue following my route. It's gonna take us further down through Arkansas. However, we're not gonna be on any interstates. So this is the next point of the video where we're gonna be on pitch black rural roads because it is night out right now. So we're gonna be driving through some Arkansas backcountry. We do want to kind of sleep soon, so I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't know what kind of hotels are gonna be out here, but we'll see. It should be an interesting drive. This is creepy as hell. So the route we're taking right now, it's bringing us on back roads through, I don't think this is a term, but the Arkansas Delta. So you guys know what the Mississippi Delta is. It's the northwest part of Mississippi, and it's where all the flatlands and farms are. And basically right now we are just in the Arkansas part of that across the Mississippi River. So it's basically like the Mississippi Delta over here, just a lot of farms and stuff. But it's really cool driving through it at night. Very, very creepy, very liminal space. There's something really off about like where we are right now. You know, it's not just because it's like some isolated road in the middle of nowhere at night. Like, I've seen a million of these things on all my travels. Like, I'm always on roads like this and they're always creepy, but like it kind of feels like right here, right now, for whatever reason, it just feels like very liminal, like we're in a dream almost, and like it's just like not real. Like, I don't know, it's just like weird vibes that this area brings that I've never really gotten anywhere else, even like Appalachia and stuff. Like, it just feels like something's wrong and like we're like alone. You know what I mean? It feels like we're the only ones in the world. Kind of just something like random you'd see in a dream, like, and then you'd wake up. You know what I mean? The vibes are just very odd. Guys, we were able to stop on this bridge. Look at this bayou. Look at that. Look at how dark that is. How many gators and snakes are probably in there. We definitely are in like gator country at this point. So I always found that cool, knowing that there's like alligators and snakes in the water that surround you and stuff. And it's only gonna get more intense with that the further south we go, especially in Louisiana and Florida. So me and my dad found this random motel. We're considering staying here because we're pretty tired, but I don't know, guys. It just it doesn't really look warm and welcoming, you know. I mean, there's people here. I mean, look, guy watching TV in there. I don't think this is gonna work out though. I mean, it's literally in the middle of the bayous here. The freaking part of it is abandoned. All right, so we found a random Delta Inn motel on the side of the road. We're still along that road of just backcountry here in Arkansas. However, we passed a little town called Helena, and that's where we are right now. All right, guys, so here is the room we're in. It's a little sketchy, a little dirty, but that's all right. It's not a big deal. We'll make do with it. I've seen worse. I've dealt with worse, so we good. Last night we stayed at a Best Western. Sometimes we stay at like Hampton Inns, Holiday Inns. Like, that's usually what I do on road trips. Just because it's a better quality experience. I don't really stay at the motels unless I have to. Like tonight, because we are not on interstate right now. There were 0 chain hotels like Fairfield or, like I said, Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn, anything like that. It was just all like little motels. So at some point we had to pick one. And that is where we are right now. However, I'm tired. I'm gonna get some sleep, and I'll see you guys tomorrow to continue this journey. Good night. Morning. It is a hot morning here in Arkansas. I'm starting to feel the southern heat. This motel, it was, you know, not the best place I've ever stayed at. The bed was uncomfortable. The air conditioner barely worked. The shower was like busted up, rusted and stained. Breakfast, they had like nothing. The coffee machine didn't work. The cereal was like stale as hell. It's cool that we slept over in this area because we were driving through it at night yesterday, and considering how like rural and creepy it was, I wanted to kind of see it in the day, and here we are. This town is so ghetto, guys. It's actually kind of crazy. It's like one of those rural southern ghettos, you know? It's so interesting. A lot of times when you're driving in the rural South, especially in like the Delta area, like Mississippi Delta and Arkansas Delta, I'm noticing, you're gonna see a lot of abandoned gas stations from like the 50s, 60s era. And first of all, it's cool because it's just like old and abandoned and beat up. It just adds to the character of the area. But not only that, they have like vintage stuff on the property. They have like the vintage gas pumps, and a lot of them have like vintage signs, like Coca-Cola signs or Dr. Pepper signs. And that's really cool. Just someone that loves history and vintage stuff, like it's cool seeing that. Just a whole lot of nothing out here. So we're passing through some like wildlife preserve right now, through the bayous. Check this out. On a bridge over the Arkansas River. So we're in Pine Bluff right now. We kind of just left it. We got out of downtown. Now we're headed south out of the city. But we were literally in the heart of downtown on Main Street, and it was so weirdly and like eerily empty and quiet. Like 75% of the main street in downtown was abandoned, and there was this big tall building that was just all boarded up, like completely empty. Like, it's really weird to see a downtown just be that empty and like abandoned. Like wasn't any people, there weren't any like restaurants or stores. Like, I don't know, when I think of big city, I think of what I'm used to, you know, like New York, and not Pine Bluff and what I saw there, you know. But this is why I travel. Like, I like to see all that kind of stuff. And not only that, Pine Bluff is very not doing well. It has high crime rates, high poverty rates, and it's honestly just a really ghetto city. So a lot of rough stuff. So we've been driving out of Pine Bluff for a little bit now. We're back in the middle of nowhere, in the backcountry, on a back road. The next time we're gonna see an interstate is once we get into Louisiana a little bit. But we got some time left in Arkansas still, so we pulled over at this gas station on the side of the road. We've been driving on this one road for a long time, and we still have a while left, so we gotta stretch our legs, get a little bathroom or snack break or something. They have their own little counter and food over here. Look at that. Check out the bathroom of this place. That was really interesting. It was like some gas station on the side of the road that made its own fried chicken, grits and stuff. That's pretty interesting. But guys, check it out. I've been meaning to show you this. Look at the front of our car. Look at all the dead bugs splattered all over it. That's from when we're driving on the rural roads at night and the bugs fly into the lights on the car and they just get squashed. It's disgusting. disgusting. They're everywhere. What's annoying about driving in like backcountry areas is the fact that there's literally nothing to eat. Like chips and like candy and all that, plus the, you know, like the homemade fried chicken and grits. Those are like the only things you can buy at a gas station. Like literally there is no healthy options. There is no fruit, like bananas or apples or like grapes in like a cup. There's no like cheeses or anything. Like chips and all that, like those are great like road trip snacks every now and then, but like you don't want to eat that crap every time you're hungry. Like I want some real food in my system, and it's like we cannot find it. No matter what gas station we go to, like it's literal just like junk food. And not only that, like we can't even find like fast food like Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or anything. It's kind of wild. The next big city we're going to be in is Monroe, Louisiana. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some kind of like food there where we could actually like sit down like human beings and eat real food. Maybe some greens, maybe some meat, but I don't know. Let's hope for the best. So we're gonna stop at this Walmart real quick and get some fruit, maybe get some cheese, and kind of just like maybe keep it in the car and conserve it for the rest of this trip. Because at least in here it's like a supermarket, and you know, we could actually get real food. All right, so we stopped at Walmart. You know, one of the biggest chains in America for anything food, clothes, home goods, anything like that, right? One of the biggest chains in America. Now, you'd think they would have basic food, but they don't. And there's no produce section. Literally no produce section. There is no fruit. Like you can't just go buy like a bunch of bananas or like an apple, an orange. Like none of that was in this Walmart. And in the Walmarts by me, all that exists like in every Walmart by me. And you know, so I know that kind of thing exists in Walmart, but here it doesn't. And it blows my mind. It's like, why is there not a produce section in that store? Like but the chip aisles and the soda aisles were like miles long. It's ridiculous, bro. And it blows my mind too, because it's like, where do the people around here get like fruits and vegetables and like whole foods? Like along this road, and we're like pretty rural right now. Like there's no interstates by us or anything. Like it's all just small towns, and every single one we're passing through is gas stations without any of that kind of food. And Walmart was like the one big store we passed, and there were no produce or like cheese, yogurt, and there wasn't even like a freezer with like frozen veggies or anything. Like they didn't even have frozen veggies, let alone like the ones in the produce aisle. It just boggles my mind. It's like, where do people get their like real food here? You know, I mean, I'm sure there's something. Like I'm sure I'm probably like overreacting, but I mean, listen, that's just what I'm observing. You know, I'm sure there's ways to get produce in Arkansas, you know, but hey, at least not along this road. All right, y'all, so we're about 5 minutes out from the Louisiana state line. We're almost going to be done with Arkansas. Arkansas was fun. It was interesting. It was quite the adventure for sure. I'll tell you, I am once again ready to get off the back roads and on an interstate with like towns and food and stuff. But we got to get through a little bit of the Louisiana backcountry first before that happens. So this is the final town in Arkansas before we hit Louisiana. Look at this weird McDonald's. It must be old as hell. Alright, so we have officially made it into Louisiana. It's a crazy feeling being back in Louisiana, guys. Haven't been here since 2023, and when I was here, I loved it. I went to New Orleans, I went to Bayou Country, you know, Cajun country, southern Louisiana. I loved it down there. It was one of my favorite trips ever. On this trip, we're gonna be focused on like northern Louisiana. as opposed to like New Orleans area, southern Louisiana. It's okay though, because it's a whole different like world. It's a whole different part of Louisiana. North and South Louisiana are two very different parts of the state, you know, culturally and geographically. But yeah, I'm excited to see northern Louisiana and what it has to offer and what's different about it from southern. Check out the heat. It's about 100 degrees out there right now. We definitely are in the true deep south summer humidity. It's like mid-August right now. So alright guys, so we ended up in Ruston right now, and it's actually like a town with like people and stores and restaurants. You got a Walgreens, you got a Burger King. We also passed a store that was kind of like a mock Whole Foods, I guess you could say. Like it was just like a healthy based grocery store. So I guess we finally found some fresh produce. I'm telling y'all, it was literally since Memphis last night that we have seen any kind of like real urban like development and like civilization, you know. And this area is actually pretty nice. Like we just went from the middle of nowhere and beat up buildings to actual nice town with nice houses and shops. Thank the Lord. A restaurant, Chick-fil-A, let's go. All right, y'all, so we finished up Chick-fil-A. We got real food. We had a real dinner, sat down, relaxed for a little bit. I had a Cobb salad, so I had greens, I had tomatoes, I had chicken, I had eggs. It was well needed. It hit the spot. So now we're on Interstate 20 headed west towards Mississippi, and we're gonna, you know, I don't really have much planned for Louisiana. The two things I have planned for here, you guys will see in other videos. In this video, we're kind of just gonna be driving through, maybe making random stops along the way. Just like when we left Appalachia and got on I-40 in Tennessee, it feels good to get out of the backcountry here and be back on another interstate, that's for sure. Look at that, there's Monroe skyline. Seeing Monroe is pretty cool. We haven't really seen a city since Memphis, so I guess seeing like tall buildings and a skyline was definitely something else. But we're continuing on down Interstate 20 now. We're gonna pull over for gas soon and bathroom break because we need to stretch our legs, use a bathroom. Louisiana is an awesome state, but like I was saying before, North Louisiana and South Louisiana are very different. North Louisiana, honestly, it's just a lot of small towns, a lot of farms, nothing really too interesting. South Louisiana is definitely where it's at. It's got New Orleans, it's got the bayous, it's got, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we got off the interstate to use a gas station and like kind of like a rest stop thing that I found on the GPS, and it's bringing us through this like weird small town. So now we're clearly back in like the Mississippi Delta region, you know, just like we were up in Arkansas before. It's all like flat farmland now. I put in the GPS for this rest stop. I have no idea why the GPS is like crashing out and bringing us this weird way, but I don't know. Hopefully we see something interesting. So it ended up bringing us through the ghetto of Tallulah, Louisiana. So we're just gonna keep on cruising through here until we get to that rest stop. Another downtown that's just abandoned. It's crazy the amount of houses we passed that were abandoned and boarded up, and then the downtown like blows my mind every time. Check out this gas station. All right, we made it out of the ghetto. We're at the gas station. It's not really a rest stop, but all right, y'all, I got a sweet tea because we're in the deep south. You know you have to. This is not the Louisiana I am used to by any means. I know my New Orleans and my Bayou, but dude, this was cool. I liked seeing this. I liked learning that, you know, there's different parts to the state. But now Mississippi is literally right over the Mississippi River, like 5 miles down the interstate, so let's hit it. Okay, so we're coming up on a bridge right now that's gonna take us over the Mississippi River, and that will bring us into Mississippi. The mighty Mississippi. We're driving right over it right now. Welcome to Mississippi. All right, y'all, so we're at the Mississippi Welcome Center in Vicksburg. Check this out. Look at this view of the Mississippi River and then Louisiana there. All right, so we're about an hour out from Jackson, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually sleep in Jackson just because we're exhausted and we wanna catch up on some sleep maybe. And maybe get a few more hours of rest tonight than we have been. Kind of like recharge for the rest of the trip. And yeah, settle in Jackson for tonight and then continue the trip tomorrow. All right, guys, we're in Jackson, Mississippi, looking for hotels. Not going well, but check it out. Palm trees. Palm trees. That makes me so happy. All right, so we ended up staying at the Home 2 by Hilton with the palm trees in the front. Guys, I am so happy we're in palm tree territory. The hotel is actually really nice. It's probably one of the nicest I've ever been at. And we're on the top floor right here. Guys, check out this room, bro. It's like a little mini apartment. I have never been in a hotel room this cool. It's got its like own little kitchen with like mugs and a coffee station. Bathroom. And like I said, we're on the top floor, so we have some cool views. Palm trees down there. So what we're gonna do for the rest of the night is just relax in here, maybe order some food. I think it'll really serve us well if we just spend the rest of the night resting, catching up on some rest before the rest of this trip. So that's that. Spending the night in Jackson, Mississippi. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Morning. That was a great hotel. Guys, I'm telling you, this place has got to be the best hotel I've ever stayed at. Here's that view I was showing y'all last night. But only in the day. So we're gonna hit the road now and continue driving through Mississippi. However, at some point we are gonna be off the interstate and we're gonna be driving down Mississippi back roads, heading south towards Biloxi. But we're not gonna, and to go to Biloxi at some point, we're gonna go on I-10 into Alabama. But we have a long day in Mississippi ahead of us before we gotta worry about all that. And I have a feeling we're gonna pass a lot of cool stuff in Mississippi today. So in this hotel, actually, the lady who checked us in at the front desk, she was kind of talking to us and she was like, what are you guys doing like down here? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to do a road trip in 1 week where I hit all the southern states. She's like, oh, that's cool. She's like, but why are you in Mississippi? There's nothing to do here. She's like, I don't understand why someone would want to come here for vacation. And I'm like, oh man, you got the Blues Highway, you got a lot of things. And we're gonna see a lot of interesting things today, I have a feeling. All right guys, so we went to breakfast at this place called Another Broken Egg. It was literally like right across the street from our hotel. There's our hotel right there. I got these pancakes called Bourbon Street pancakes, and it was literally like pancakes with like this delicious sauce on top. I'm not really sure what it was, but it had like bananas, pecans, whipped cream. It was delicious. It came with sunny side up eggs and bacon. So we got a nice fat breakfast in us for this drive. In the area of Mississippi we're in right now, we're in Jackson, but we're like 15 minutes out in this little suburb called Flowood, and it's really nice. Like, it's probably one of the nicest places we've seen on this trip so far. All right, y'all, so we're just continuing on down the route. We left kind of like the area of like the Jackson area and like the immediate suburbs of Jackson, and now we're kind of like further out on the outskirts of the city, passing through some pretty nice houses actually. I could really like this area. The houses are pretty nice. The drive is pretty cool too. Really nice scenery. We're kind of far from Jackson now. We've been driving for about an hour. I don't really want to say through a rural area or the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's kind of rural, I guess, but it's mainly just been small towns. It's not really the middle of nowhere. The small towns look kind of decent. The houses look kind of decent. Every now and then you pass a couple things that are like really beat up and disheveled, but other than that, it's been a general nice road. Alright, so we made it to Hattiesburg, or Hattiesburg. I'm not really sure how you say it. It's like just a small city, but it's cool to pass through and see. A little, I guess, charming downtown. Once we get through downtown Hattiesburg, we're gonna be on the back roads again. So time to mentally prepare for that. But it's alright, Mississippi back roads should give us some cool stories. Gotta wait for this massive freight train to pass though, before we go anywhere. This has been going on for like 3 minutes already. There is no end in sight, man. My gosh. Guys, I'm gonna crash out, dude. This is like 3 minutes again later now, and the train is still going. All the local Mississippi folk are taking shortcuts to get out of here. We don't know these roads like that though, so unfortunately we gotta stay here and wait for the train to pass. Alright, the end of the train. That was crazy. I guess over there is like the downtown of the city. There's like the main street of the city. So like I said, it's kind of just has like a little quaint downtown. It's kind of charming. The city feels very old. Like when you're driving through it, you feel like the old South kind of. So yeah, it was cool. Like the suburb of Jackson that we slept in and ate in was so nice. And then between here and there, it was just like a bunch of small towns that were nice. And then Hattiesburg, whatever. The downtown of this city was just very charming and small, like pretty cool. So as we're driving out of the city, we get stuck at another freight train. That whole freight train situation though, that was like really annoying, you know what I mean? Because the people that live here in this city or anywhere that has that situation, it's like, how do they get to work and stuff? Like, because it seems like the freight trains pass through the area like pretty much all the time. So in my opinion, I mean, I think it would cause a lot of traffic and just be really annoying to the local folk who live here, you know? And me, my New York ass, the friggin' go, that would get on my nerves if I had to deal with a freight train every day or possibly multiple times a day. No thank you. So yeah, Hattiesburg just felt very old and stuck in time. Like all the buildings were old, all the houses were old. There were freight trains, you know, the horns honking. It just felt old, you know what I mean? It was very empty and quiet. So we're pretty much out of the city now, and let this back road part of the route once again begin. Guys, check out this old abandoned, I guess you could say, like restaurant with like all the catfish, shrimp, po' boys, like all the southern seafood. This is awesome. Some rain unfortunately, but I mean, you're in the deep south, it's summer, it's bound to rain at some point. So funny enough, we've actually been on this highway, US 49, for quite some time now. It's actually the road that we were on when we left Jackson, that was going through all the like nice areas and nice houses. Then we went through Hattiesburg, and now we're continuing on, and now we're kind of like in the more rural, beat up parts. It's kind of crazy though to think about how like we're on one road and it's just like all so different, like the further on you drive on it. Ray is really coming down now, but we're actually gonna get off in this town Wiggins because we want to try to maybe find somewhere to stretch our legs, use the bathroom. It's been a while. All right, so we're gonna go into this Piggly Wiggly. It's like a chain throughout the South. So I got these like spicy Cajun New Orleans type chips because, you know, when in Rome. Guys, check out those giant cans of soda. That's pretty cool. We're pulling up on this store we saw on the side of the road. The store kind of looks like a house. Kind of weird. Lots o' Trump. Definitely in the Deep South. Confederate flag. So the store ended up working out. When we rolled up, there was no one out except like 3 dogs running around, all wet and muddy, chasing our car. And then this young girl gets, not young, but like a little older than Kyle, a little older than me maybe. She comes out of that house that was like in the front where it said like lots o' Trump or whatever. She comes out, and then some dude comes up on a bike and says, "Are you guys interested in going to the store?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll check it out." Because it was just a store with like a whole bunch of Confederate flags and all that on the side of the road, and we wanted to see that, you know? That's some Southern culture right there. We wanted to check it out. So we pulled up, but it was like really shady at first because it was like a trailer. It's just like you pulled up and it looked like someone's like private property trailer home. There was a sign that said private property, but it was still a store. We just weren't sure. However, we ended up going into the store, and here's a little bit of what was in it. So that store obviously was a pro-Confederate store. They had all that, like, you know, the South will rise again stuff, all pro-Trump stuff, you know, like conspiracy theory kind of stuff. A lot of, you know, just like funny little like Confederate stuff, like, you know, Confederate parking only, Northerners go back north. And as we're in there, we're from New York, so that was really, really, really interesting to see. That was just a random store and some busted down trailer on the side of this back road in Mississippi. Like, it doesn't get more dirty south than that. You know what boggles my mind though is an old white man used to own and live there, okay? But now a young Puerto Rican couple owns it, which boggles my mind. Why would a young minority couple want to own a store like that? Part of me doesn't even think they understand what they bought. I mean, unless they just believe in that. But they were really nice people, especially the girl. We were talking to her a lot. She was very, very nice. But yeah, that was just something else. And I asked the girl, I was like, "Do you guys get a lot of business here?" Like, I wanted to try to understand more about like the history of the place, and you know what I mean? And that's really what she told me. An old white dude used to own it, but there was trouble with him or something like that. So he sold it, they bought it. And like I said, their demographic, just why they bought that kind of boggles me. And then I asked if they had a lot of like, you know, traffic into the store. And she's like, "No, not really. You guys are the first people to come here in a while." But they had all like Trump 2024 stuff, so it's relatively new. Like their merchandise is relatively new, you know, it's not stuff from like years ago or whatever. But the trailer itself, like I said, it just looks like one of those beat up trailers you see on the side of the road in rural areas. And when we went inside, we had to go up this like wooden ramp and the floors were creaking. It looked like it was about to collapse, the whole thing. That had to be one of the most interesting stops I've ever made on a road trip in my whole life. All right, y'all, so we're about to wrap up this back road now in Mississippi, and we're gonna get on Interstate 10 and head towards Alabama. I'm pretty sure you can see the skyline of Biloxi up there, which is pretty cool. All right, y'all, so we're on Interstate 10 headed towards Mobile, Alabama. It's still raining out, unfortunately. I hope it clears up soon enough. We have been pretty lucky with weather on this trip though, so I'm not complaining. So we're on a bridge right now over the Pascagoula River. Check this out. Definitely in Bayou country. Alright guys, we're about to leave Mississippi and enter Alabama. So we are officially in Bama. It feels so good to be back here. Alabama is another one of those states that's just so interesting. We have some stuff planned in the state that you guys will see in other videos, but we're still going to be passing through a lot of good places like Mobile, Montgomery. Right now we're about 15 minutes out of Mobile though, still on I-10. So we're just going to get there. Alright, so we're on our way to Mobile right now, but on our way there, we ended up on some back roads of Pritchard. Pritchard is like this little city north of Mobile, about like 15 minutes north. And look at where we are. So these are the roads, okay, and look at these potholes. Ridiculous. And so the problem is that basically every house down here is just really beat up, and as you can tell, this one isn't abandoned, it's just really beat up, but a lot of them are abandoned. So it's all just that. This is what it looks like. And then aside from the houses, you have trash everywhere and all the vegetation growing. It used to be houses basically. So like all this right here, this used to be homes, but now they're all gone. Like this was a whole neighborhood at some point, and now majority of it, except for the few houses, is just completely abandoned and overgrown with vegetation now. It's ridiculous. You got like not wild, but like loose and stray dogs running around and cats. And look at this, the GPS is telling us to make a right because there is a street here. However, when you make that right, it's literally one house and then it's overtaken by forest. And if you look, that street goes all the way. It does like a little loop. So the streets as well became overgrown with vegetation, and like maps hasn't even picked it up yet. Like it's telling us to go down streets that don't even exist anymore. So we're trying to like figure out how to kind of navigate our way out of Pritchard. There were parts of that road where it said make a left and it was just trees, but you saw like the old abandoned street sign or whatnot. Like that was interesting. I wonder what happened here. So we got out of Pritchard, we figured that out. We're back on the interstate now, headed towards downtown Mobile. And up ahead in the distance, we can see the skyline of Mobile. Alright y'all, so here we are in downtown Mobile. I guess this is like the main street. Very quiet and cute, very charming. It looks like New Orleans, honestly. It has that like same vibe to it. Alright y'all, so we're headed out of Mobile right now. I really like this city. It's like a smaller New Orleans in a way. Same kind of culture, same kind of vibe, just smaller and less popular. It has the same kind of architecture, the same kind of things going on. People come here to party at Mardi Gras every year, just like they do in New Orleans. And I love New Orleans, and I didn't really hit that on this trip because I've been there already and I wanted to see new stuff. So I came here instead, and it was basically like visiting New Orleans, so that was kind of a treat. We're almost at the very bottom. I'm not really sure what that building is, but it's very tall, probably one of the tallest of Alabama, if not the tallest. I love all the palm trees, guys. It's such a good, happy vibe. So we're gonna start to head out of Mobile now, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue to follow my route. So I planned it out in a very interesting way. So my goal is to hit every southern state in one road trip, as you guys know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue to go up Alabama and then into Georgia. However, before we continue to go into Alabama, we are gonna pass through a small part of the Florida Panhandle, so that way we can go to Florida. I do not have anything planned for Florida, and it's like one of the first towns that we're gonna see in Florida, but it doesn't matter. The point is to just go. Adios, Mobile. Bucky's sign. Guess we gotta stop there. So guys, check that out. It's completely sunny behind us, right? But in front of us, it's all cloudy. And there's even a rainbow. Guys, check it. There's like 3 Bucky's billboards in a row. That's awesome. You know, when you see Bucky's, you gotta pull over. It's like a road trip requirement. We got a spot right at the front door of Bucky's. That never happens. Guys, check this place out. It's massive. Massive bathroom. So, I've never showed a Bucky's before. Do you guys finally get what it's about if you've never seen it? It's like a gas station and a convenience store, but it's like giant. And not only do they have like, you know, a freezer full of drinks, packaged snacks, they have literal homemade brisket, barbecue, sandwiches, fudge, candied pecans, jerky, and then they have a whole area of like home decorations and home goods and merchandise from the store. It just became such a road trip phenomena that, you know what I mean, like anyone who's into traveling and road trips always wants to stop here. All right guys, so we're crossing over a river right now and we are about to enter the great state of Florida. Of course, all the palm trees. All right, so we are in Florida. I haven't been in Florida since I was 14, so this is definitely cool. I'm very happy to be back here. So we're in a part of Florida that's called the Florida Panhandle, and it's very interesting because it's very different from the rest of the state. When you're in the rest of Florida, like anywhere below Jacksonville, it's, you know, very like Florida, you know what I mean? It's just like Florida. But when you're in the Florida Panhandle, it's much more like Alabama and Mississippi. Like the culture is just much more related to them than it is to the rest of Florida. So people say Florida Panhandle is lower Alabama. And the joke about Florida is that the further north you go, the further south you get. Because Florida Panhandle is all the way at the north part of Florida, but it's the most like southern culture influenced. So it's just something cool, you know, something cool to think about. So like I said, we're not gonna be here very long. We're gonna get some dinner in Pensacola, and then we're gonna head back up into Alabama, continuing our route. So hopefully we see something cool in Florida, because we are gonna be taking some back roads at some point. Filled with palm trees as soon as you get into the state. All right, so we're on the outskirts of Pensacola right now. We stopped at a Jersey Mike's for dinner. Got a nice fat Italian meat sandwich, bro. You know how it is. You gotta have the sandwiches. Like a real man. Yeah, we're just getting some gas right now at a Wawa, and then we are going to head north through the Panhandle, through some small towns, and then eventually get back into Bama. So the route we're following, it's just bringing us on some dark rural roads. Not really houses here, but the houses we did pass were really nice. It just makes you understand why so many people are moving to Florida. Honestly guys, not much is happening in Florida. We're not seeing much. We saw a little town outside Pensacola. You know, we saw some houses on the outskirts of that, but now it's literally just a dark road. Literally nothing else. All right, so we made it into a town. It's not much, very small town, but it's a town. All right, so we're about to cross out of Florida. Let's look at some Florida palm trees. And then we got Alabama state line. Alright y'all, so we're on Interstate 65 now, back in Alabama, heading north. We're gonna try to make it to Montgomery tonight, and we're gonna sleep there, so that'll be cool. We'll sleep in Montgomery, another big city, like we did last night when we slept in Jackson. We just got an hour drive before we arrive in Montgomery. Alright, so we got off the interstate. It's about an hour later since I last saw you guys, and we're in Montgomery right now. So we're on the outskirts of downtown right now. What we're looking to do is drive into downtown, which you can see over there, and find a hotel, hopefully. Alright, so here's downtown Montgomery. Very empty. Just like pretty much a lot of the cities we saw on this trip so far, outside of Memphis and Nashville. I always liked the southern cities though, and their downtowns. Like they're all very quiet but like charming. Alright guys, so we ended up getting a hotel right in downtown actually. It's the same hotel we got last night, a Home 2 by Hilton. Here is the room. Same thing, just kitchen and the 2 beds. So here's the point of the night where I say adios to y'all and head to sleep, because it's been a long day, and tomorrow we have another long day. So I'm gonna head to sleep. I will catch you guys in the morning. Good morning guys, from Montgomery, Alabama, the beautiful deep south, the old south. Today's gonna be another day filled with adventure. We're in Montgomery right now. We're probably gonna head out soon. We're just finishing up getting all the crap in our hotel ready. Check it out guys, from the window in the hallway, you could see a little bit of downtown. Alright, so it's a bright and early morning here in Montgomery, but we're about to leave the city and head back on the interstate. So we left Montgomery, we're back on the interstate now, continuing down the route that I have planned out. Some bad rain. Guys, look at this sign. Go to the church or the devil will get you. So we're just riding on the interstate, and all of a sudden there was this giant billboard that said, go to church or the devil will get you. It's like, how creepy is that, dude? Like, it's funny as hell, but it's low-key creepy and depressing. Like, okay. Like, okay, Alabama, thank you for letting me know. Like, that's exactly what driving in the deep south is like. Like, you're gonna pass like giant crosses on the road, and you're gonna pass a bunch of billboards with like religious propaganda and religious threats, and it's really funny, but it's also like I said, creepy in a way, especially when you pass the giant crosses at night, because they're all like glowing and stuff. Like, if you've driven through the south, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're much further up the interstate now. We're in Auburn, Alabama, and thankfully the weather has cleared up, not raining anymore. So found another Buc-ee's. Welcome Buckaroos. You guys know they have like about 200 gas pumps? Like, how insane is that? 200 gas pumps, bro. Every store too, like there's so much gas. Like, the money the CEO of this store must make has to be insane. Never mind, weather's terrible again. We're about 10 minutes out of Georgia right now, and you can barely see anything. Got beaver nuggets though, so all good. So we're about to leave Alabama and enter Georgia. Alabama was fun. Chattahoochee River. So once we pass this river, we'll be in Georgia. Georgia state line. Alright y'all, so we made it to Georgia. We're just gonna keep on following the route. We're gonna cross through Atlanta at some point, maybe stop off, get something to eat, walk around downtown. We are also back in Eastern time zone, so we're back in the time zone that I am used to. I find it hard to believe that we're already back in our time zone. Like, that's pretty crazy. Alright, so as we're kind of rolling up on Atlanta, the skies are kind of clear again, thankfully, because I didn't want to have to walk around Atlanta in the rain. Alright, y'all, so all the way up in the distance, you can start to see the skyline of Atlanta. Guys, one of the coolest things is being on the road and driving into a city and seeing its skyline for the first time. Like, this is my first time ever seeing or even being in Atlanta, and it's just, seeing it in the distance is so cool. Alright, y'all, so we're officially in downtown Atlanta now. We just want to try to find a spot to park and then we're gonna get out. Alright, y'all, so we just went to the World of Coke. It's basically a whole museum dedicated to Coca-Cola and like the history of it, like how it was made, like, you know, and it's just like the whole history of Coca-Cola. But they have this room at the top called the Taste It Room, and it features Coca-Cola products from all over the world. Like, literally all kinds of Coca-Cola products from all over the world. Like these random drinks you didn't even know existed, and you could taste them all. And I tried a fair amount, and I'm gonna be honest, I was not impressed in the slightest. Like, I tried drinks from Thailand, Costa Rica, like everywhere in the world. And they were all, in my opinion, honestly kind of gross. I wanted to throw up at half of them, but like the main one that really grossed me out was this like plum Fanta from China. When I drank it, it literally tasted like barbecue sauce. Like, picture us drinking soda and it tastes like barbecue sauce when you think it's about to taste like a plum. Terrible. So yeah, that was that. We went to the World of Coke, and I was not impressed by the other Coca-Cola products from around the world. So we're walking back to our car and we see this giant Ferris wheel. We're gonna check this out. Alright, y'all, so for whatever reason we decided to do this Ferris wheel here in Atlanta. It's called the Sky View, and it takes you up really fucking high above the ground. Oh my lord, bro. This is crazy shit. Bro, look at how high up we are. Guys, we're so high up right now. This is the most freaky thing I've ever done. Yo, this shit's shaking back and forth, bro. Nah, I'm being such a pussy right now, dude. I don't know why I'm acting like this. The skyline is beautiful, though. Nice fucking views. Alright, guys, so we survived the sky view. That was probably one of the most freaky things I've ever done. And, like, I'm not a pussy. I like doing shit like that. You know what I mean? I'm into doing risky stuff, but that was... I don't know, bro. It was just freaky. Like, look at how big that thing is, bro. Alright, so we left Atlanta a few hours ago. We're back on the interstate now, headed northeast towards South Carolina. We got dinner at some random Outback in some random town along the interstate. It's pretty good. Got a nice fat steak at the spot. So we're pulling off in this little random area, kind of in the middle of the nowhere. We're gonna get gas. I always loved driving on interstates and getting off random exits and seeing like what's off the exit and like what it looks like. It's just like over here, it's just rural. We're gonna go to Love's because, you know, of course. Alright, y'all, so we're still cruising through Georgia. It's getting really tiring, honestly. Alright, y'all, so we got off the interstate. We are in Augusta, Georgia right now. It's getting kind of late, so what me and my dad are going to do, we're going to pull it over for the day, get a hotel. Augusta, Georgia is right on the South Carolina border, so when we wake up tomorrow, it'll be South Carolina. Like, literally 5 minutes we'll be in South Carolina. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, we're staying here in Augusta, Georgia for the night. It's raining like terribly out right now. Or it was like a good 10 minutes ago, like worse than what I was showing you guys before in Alabama. And it's lightning like crazy right now, as you can tell. So we're driving through Augusta right now on our way to the hotel. We're not in downtown Augusta, that's a little bit south of us. We're more like northern Augusta on the outskirts. All right, y'all, so here we are in our hotel room. Another Home 2 Suites by Hilton. Me and my dad love this place. We've stayed here every night for the last few nights now. We discovered it on this road trip and we are gonna keep it in mind for the future. So it's been a long day of driving out of Alabama, a long day of exploring Atlanta, driving through Georgia on the interstates. That was just so long. And then the rain, like today was like a long day, but a fun day. But it's time to get some sleep, rest up for tomorrow when we get into the Carolinas. I will see you guys in the morning. Good night. Good morning, guys. It's good to see you guys again. We are currently still in Augusta, Georgia. We just left our hotel and we got back on the interstate and we're gonna continue our way down this route. We're gonna be in South Carolina in about 10 minutes. It's still a little cloudy out, but at least it's getting better. Last night the rain was absolutely terrible. Peaches, of course, because you're in Georgia. Love that. However, before we do enter South Carolina, we're just gonna get off in Augusta and get some breakfast. Augusta, in my opinion, is a pretty nice city from what I saw. I didn't really get to see the downtown because it was a little bit south of the interstate that we're on. But the little outskirts of the city, like these little suburbs here, are very cool. Alright, y'all, so we got breakfast. We went to another Broken Egg Cafe again. I got like a little stack of pancakes and this like omelet with crab and like onions and bro, it's so good. Alright, so we're about to leave Augusta and get back on the interstate. Alright, so we're passing over the Savannah River right now. And once we do that, we're gonna be in South Carolina. Welcome to South Carolina. Alright guys, so we've crossed into South Carolina. We're just gonna follow this interstate all the way across the state to Interstate 95. And then we're gonna head north. We're gonna pass through Columbia, Florence. It's not really raining. It's doing like a light drizzle, but it's still kind of cloudy and like gross out. A lot of winds. Hopefully it clears up at some point today. Alright, y'all, so we're kind of in Columbia, South Carolina right now. You know, the interstate is a little bit above Columbia, so I couldn't really see the skyline or anything, and we didn't really pass through downtown. Plus it's kind of cloudy out, so not like I probably would have seen it anyway, even if I could see it from the interstate. So that's Columbia, that's like downtown, and this was the interstate that we're on, so it's kind of above it. We got off the interstate, going to Love's, quick bathroom break. So it's been a few hours now since Love's, and we have officially made it to the eastern side of South Carolina. We're now headed north on Interstate 95. We got a Buc-ee's coming up soon. And we're passing through a city called Florence right now. A little glimpse into Florence from the interstate. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is the downtown or not, but it's definitely Florence. Very southern small town off the interstate core. Alright, so we're getting off for Buc-ee's, obviously. I just love it, like the logo so much when you're on the highway. There's just a giant beaver in the sky. Alright, we have made it to Buc-ee's, and we got the palm trees everywhere. Alright, y'all, so we finished our last Buc-ee's stop of this trip because there were no more Buc-ee's on our route. I got some Western beef jerky and just a few other things, like beaver nuggets, of course. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna head back on the interstate and head up north towards North Carolina. It's about a half hour from here. Alright, y'all, as we get closer to the North Carolina border, you can see south of the border billboards, which is kind of like this massive Mexican-themed travel complex. It's pretty cool. It's right on the border of North and South Carolina. And there's like motels, restaurants, gift shops, all that kind of stuff. It's Mexican themed, so that kind of adds like a little uniqueness to it, which is cool. Alright, so as we're continuing on, approaching the North Carolina border, you can start to actually see the entire south of the border complex over here. Check this out. South of the border, we made it. Alright, let's check this place out. This place is quirky. My All right, y'all, so crazy story. We're actually gonna stay here at south of the border overnight because there is a lot to do here and we kind of want to take it in. So we're going to get a room here in one of the motels and just spend the rest of the night here. And then we're about 10 hours from home, so we're just gonna book it tomorrow back home. So yeah, let's spend the night at south of the border and see what's up. All right, guys, so we made it into our room. Check this out. It's definitely not the home 2 suites we've been staying at, but it'll do for the night. It'll be cool. You got the little sink area over here, the bathrooms. And look at this, we even have a little deck with a palm tree view. All right, y'all, so we unpacked in our room. Let's walk around south of the border now and see what it has to offer. They got their own water tower and everything. So that dude, his name is Pedro, I think. And I'm not being racist, like it's actually Pedro. And then that giant thing up there, the sombrero tower, it's an observation deck, so we're gonna head up there. Little aerial view of the complex. All right, so we've made it to the top of the sombrero tower. This is really cool. Check this out. So there's Interstate 95, headed south. That's the way we just came from. Awesome views. Here's the rest of the complex. A lot of it looks abandoned though. It is kind of run down. A lot of it is empty and abandoned. So that's like where you check into the motels. And those are the motels over there, like all those little quarters. And then you got, looking out there, some rural area and the farms. And then looking north, you have this sign, the gas station. And then out there, we're literally on the North Carolina border. So all that out there is North Carolina. And you could even see the North Carolina sign right after that bridge where that truck is. You could see some North Carolina backroads over there. Dude, the sombrero tower must look so cool from that road. And guys, we're so lucky right now because number one, the rain held out. It was pouring rain all day today, right? And the second we parked, it's still cloudy and shit, but it's not raining, which is great. So it kind of like held out for us. Two, we're the only people up here right now, like literally the only people up here. So like, how cool is this? So this is one thing I kind of wanted to show you guys. Coming up here, the elevator was so rickety. All right, and then like scary, you gotta check this out. So we're in the reptile lagoon. It's basically a building where you can see reptiles, and we got an alligator over here. You got all the baby alligators over there. That's awesome, dude. Look at this guy, bro. An alligator snapping turtle. Look at his claws. Got a Mexican rattlesnake in here. Look at this dude, man. Alright, y'all, so that was south of the border. Very interesting place. Dude, I mean, it's like an entire Mexican-themed travel complex with motels, restaurants, gift shops, arcades, a truck stop / convenience store, a steakhouse shaped like a sombrero, a giant 200-foot sombrero observation tower. Like, dude, it doesn't get more unique than that. That's such a cool, like, roadside attraction, and we're here for the night. I'm glad that we decided to check it out, and that's honestly what we're gonna spend the rest of the night doing. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna enjoy it. Look at this beautiful sunset and the palm trees behind me, and kind of just relax for the rest of the night. I feel like we haven't relaxed yet on this trip, so that's definitely what we're gonna do tonight. So yeah, we're gonna wake up tomorrow. We're gonna hit North Carolina tomorrow, and then back up into Virginia, and we'll probably make it home later tomorrow night. So with that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Good morning, guys. That was one of the worst night sleeps and worst showers I've ever had in my life. Don't get me wrong, south of the border is a really, really cool travel complex, but like, it is a roadside motel at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, spring mattress, nowhere near what we got spoiled with the Home 2 suites. And then here, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm 6'5", and then look at that. And you can't move it, you can't put it up, you can't put it down, so horrible shower. When I went to wash my head, I literally had to like duck down, and like, it was terrible, and the water pressure was like nothing. On top of all that, it's also a very haunted and uncomfortable place. Now, I really get into what that means in a separate video I filmed here that's gonna be uploaded within the next few months, you know what I mean? Because I like to space things out. I like to do weekly or bi-weekly posts, and that's probably gonna be one of my last posts from this trip. So give it a little bit, it'll be out. In that video, I really go into detail about what the hauntedness behind this place, the theories behind this place, and I go out and investigate it for myself. So it's an interesting video. However, I'll explain a little bit of it now. You guys saw south of the border how it's like this big travel complex, right? It's like a carnival. There's these giant life-size statues everywhere of animals, of people. So picture that, but at night and completely empty because no one's here. And that adds to part of the creepiness, because like, why is such a popular tourist attraction so empty, you know? And at night, when you have all the old abandoned carnival areas and like all the neon lights in the sky and the, you know, this life-size statues, it feels like they're watching you. It feels like you're in a fever dream and like a episode of Scooby-Doo almost. Like some abandoned amusement park type shit, you know? So when they're here, people say they feel that weird feeling of being watched, you know? That weird feeling of just like something's wrong, something's not right. And they also experience like an uncanny valley type of feeling. And a lot of people also experience hauntings, like, you know, they hear footsteps or like knocking, or like, you know, they see someone running outside their window, but when they look, there's no one there. So there's just a lot of like weird theories like that on Reddit and like articles on the internet I read. Just a lot of different people coming out and saying all the same kinds of things, you know? And on top of it, people question how such a big place can stay open and can afford all the billboards, like 20 miles in every direction on the interstate, when there's practically no business. So two theories say that this is a organized crime, drug trafficking place, you know? Some of the stores may be fronts. Some people say that there's like a secret underneath to the park where there's just, you know, drug operations, drug business. And, you know, that is potentially how they make their money. Another theory, which seems a little bit more believable, is the fact that there is a county up in North Carolina that is a dry county, meaning you cannot legally purchase alcohol there. So people think they might come down here to south of the border and legally purchase their alcohol and then bring it back up to where they live. So people think south of the border makes their money that way, because there's no way that they are able to afford all this and to afford to stay open with the amount of business that they actually get. So very interesting place, a lot of theories, a lot of creepiness to it. It's just a very interesting place, on top of it being really cool though, and really fun. Like, I really enjoyed my stay here, despite the shower. So with all that being said, we're about to leave south of the border, leave South Carolina in general, because North Carolina is like a minute from here. Literally, the border is like right at the end of the park. We'll definitely be home tonight, late tonight. I have my Buc-ee's pajamas on today, guys, because we've got a long drive home. And you know what? Like, fuck it. All right, so we're about to go check out and hit the road. Adios, Pedro. Thank you for the warm hospitality. All right, guys, so we've officially entered North Carolina. The GPS is being a little weird. Instead of just bringing us up straight, Interstate 95, it's telling us to get off this exit. So it's weird it brought us off the interstate, but I guess it's a good thing because we get to see some North Carolina back roads. This is something I didn't really plan on. I didn't really plan on seeing any more back roads on this trip, but I guess we are. Pretty old, beat up town. Just a real country area we're driving through right now. A lot of homes and just farms. Alright y'all, so that route was pretty cool, but it was getting kind of weird. So I double checked the GPS and it was completely wrong. It was bringing us all the way out of the way. We ended up in Rayford, and that is not where we needed to be. So I GPSed home again, and right now we're passing through Fayetteville. I have no idea why the GPS would do that, but that was like an extra hour out of the way, and that was really annoying. So, but at least we're in Fayetteville now, and we're gonna get back on Interstate 95 very soon. Alright y'all, so we just got out of Fayetteville. We are officially back on Interstate 95. Guys, check that out. Confederate flag. That's crazy, man. Just a giant Confederate flag posted right along the highway like that. I could understand seeing them in like the backcountry areas we were in. You know what I mean? But right here on the interstate in North Carolina, like the things you'll see driving in the South, man. It's just added to the wall. Alright y'all, it's been a few hours since I last saw you guys. We're still driving up Interstate 95 in North Carolina. We're about half hour away from Virginia right now. Not too much along this highway. Every now and then you can see into a town, but nothing else. Just a lot of trees, a lot of billboards, and a lot of farms. Busted up billboard over there, that's cool. Alright y'all, so we're gonna get off here at Roanoke Rapids. It's one of the first towns before Virginia. We're gonna get some lunch probably. All right, so we got back on the interstate from Roanoke Rapids. We got some lunch at Chick-fil-A. It was pretty good. All right, y'all, so we're wrapping up North Carolina now. It was pretty interesting, especially going on those back roads and stuff, but we're going to Virginia, about to cross into it. Welcome to Virginia. So out of nowhere, it just started pouring rain again. Like really bad, like it was a few days ago. So we got another Confederate flag right there along the interstate. Oh my God. So all the way up there in the distance, further down the interstate, you can see the skyline of Richmond. So that is Virginia's biggest city. And also when this area of the country was the Confederacy, Richmond was the capital. So little history fun fact there for you. It's a cool skyline. Probably the biggest we've seen on this trip. A lot going on over there, a lot of buildings. So, little fun fact, we're in the area right now of the Fredericksburg battlefield from the Civil War. I just thought that would be a cool little fun fact for y'all. Virginia is one of those states that has a lot of cool history to it, especially when it comes to like colonial times and the Civil War, and it's just a very cool historical state. Alright y'all, so we're in northern Virginia now, getting close to the Maryland border, and we're unfortunately hitting some Washington DC traffic. This like whole section of Interstate 95 is just so rough because you got Washington DC, Baltimore, Maryland. So it's always just really annoying, especially at like rush hour, which it is now. Alright y'all, so we're still in that Washington DC traffic. We just left Virginia. We're now in Maryland. We didn't really pass DC. We were kind of above it. It would have been cool to see the skyline, but whatever. I just want to get out of this traffic right now. Alright, so we're just continuing on through Maryland. The traffic was absolutely horrible. We were stuck in that for hours. The area between like Washington DC and Baltimore is always horrible, so I'm not surprised, but it hurt, man. So we got through DC, we're in Maryland, we're almost in Baltimore now. So we're probably unfortunately gonna hit some more traffic, but once we do that, we should probably not hit any more traffic for the rest of the day. Because by the time we get to New York City, it should be night. All right, so you can see Baltimore up in the distance. Another big skyline. All right, y'all, so a few hours ago we got out of Maryland and then we got into Delaware. And now we are almost about to be out of Delaware into New Jersey. We are passing over the Delaware Memorial Bridge right now into New Jersey and out of Delaware over the Delaware Water Gap. We pushed it through New Jersey. It's getting really, really late out. We're getting really tired. This vacation was so epic. It was so fun. But like, this is the point of the trip where you're exhausted. You know, when you're on your way home, you're almost home and it's like dark out and the road just seems to be going on forever. You know, this is when it starts to become like really, really grueling. So we're about to enter New York State and we're about like an hour from home right now. All right, so we're passing over the Goethals Bridge right now. It's gonna take us into New York. Adios, New Jersey. Welcome to New York. Guys, we're home. We have made it to New York. Oh man, that's crazy. Guys, I fear that this is the end of our adventure together on this video. I know this was a really, really long video. It was like a movie. But that was my goal of this video. I wanted this video to be really long. I wanted it to be something that you guys can really sit down and enjoy. And I think I definitely fulfilled that goal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video if you made it to the end. I hope you had a great time watching it. This trip was absolutely surreal. I mean, we started it up in Appalachia, in the Appalachian backroads, all the way down into Bayou country. We hit cities. We drove on popular interstates, isolated backroads. We visited small towns, big cities, and everywhere in between. And we hit every southern state in under a week with stops. In my opinion, I think that's pretty cool. I feel very accomplished because that's not really something a lot of people really can say they did. But yeah, we did it, and now here we are back home in New York at midnight on, you know, Sunday. And it's just crazy being back here, seeing, you know, the New York City skyline when I was just in Mobile, Alabama a few days ago, and the back roads of Arkansas, like, and forget a few days ago, like this morning I was on a road with palm trees and Confederate flags, and now I'm, you know, in New York with oak trees and skyscrapers that way. It's just crazy, man, like the difference one road can make in a few hours, you know. Guys, with that being said, that is the end of this trip, and that is the end of this video. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't be too sad though, because there is more videos from this trip coming over the next few weeks, so definitely look out for those. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.